Hey, it's due time that I come on here. I used to be somebody that showed up on stories every single day. And, people were very kind. They were saying, "Oh, wow, I see you showing up every day and you're it's so great and blah blah blah." And but you know what? I don't like showing up every day. I don't. But after going through a few coaching programs, and signing up for a few coaching programs, I realized that's what people were telling me I have to do. If I'm going to be successful, I need to show up on social media every day. And I don't want to show up on social media every day, nor do I want to take pictures all day long to post in my stories. You know what? When I see beautiful things, I'll take a picture. Or if I create something in the kitchen, I'll take a picture or whatever, and I'll post it because I enjoy it. But feeling like I need to because I'm supposed to is a whole different story. And I'm being kind of cautionary here because I don't know, I don't want to put down social media when I'm on social media because maybe this will never go out. But I'm just saying that, for certain people, it's fantastic and they work their magic very well. But I still feel like I can do my work. I can be the person who I want to be, how I want to show up, and not rely on social media. I've been a therapist for many, many years, and I always had the mindset that, if people want to find me, they will, right? And it's worked very well. I mean, a website. I love my website. I love it. It's always served me very well. Or, like search my name, you'll find me on Google. It's worked well. But then, I was being told that social media is free and why wouldn't you use it? And, I'm really proud of myself to think that I'm someone that I can actually like open up an app and get on here and it works is amazing. Like I'm super proud of myself at, I say my age, 55, actually, I'm only 14 days away from being 56. So like I'm proud of myself for doing this because it's definitely not easy to learn a skill that you're not accustomed to, right? Like kudos for anything out there, whether it's racquetball or cooking up a brand new recipe, it's everybody needs to be congratulated on doing things that they don't routinely do. It's uncomfortable, and I'm all about getting uncomfortable. And it's good to do that because then you realize, is this something I want to continue doing? Or is this not, feeding my soul? And after giving like this whole getting on social media every single day a really good try, like I'm talking a good year and a half, if not more, I don't like it. I don't like selling my services on social media. I hate it. In fact, I hate it because it's not me. It's totally not me. And even like right now I'm using a filter. What is it? I don't even know. It doesn't even say the filter. And you know what? That's so nice. It's nice to look at yourself and not see like the wrinkles and everything like that. Like hell, if I wanted to see that, I'll just look in the mirror. So I use the filter. We all need a little help, right? I wear makeup every day. So, why wouldn't I use a filter? But like, we gotta be honest, everything like on social media, it's so fake. It's so fake. But there's a lot of good as well, right? I mean, there's a lot of great things about social media, but I'm just saying, for me, the type of person I am, I don't feel comfortable. I don't like, when it was, I do a lot of work with relationships, right? And I was told, by coaches, like, you need to be posting like, photos of you and your husband and, maybe holding hands, or I'm like, no, I'm a very private person, and I don't want to be showing pictures of my children or my husband, or, it's sort of like, again, if it's a photo that I really want to talk about and share, and sure, but to feel like I need to is a whole different story. So yeah, it just felt so good to get off of social media for quite some time, and then I did some real soul searching, and I'm thinking, like, I'm screwed. I thought I'm screwed because everyone's telling me that I need to sell on social media, and I don't want to. So this is not good. And well, I found a solution, and I'm really, really happy about it. So I'm just going to rely on my website, first of all, and certain platforms like maybe LinkedIn. I'm going to do more work on LinkedIn, more posting there. Podcast, I am in love with my podcast. I mean, I wish, if anything, I wish my growth, like, in that realm would just skyrocket, because nothing makes me happier than speaking to people from all around the world on topics that I'm passionate about. Like, come on, like, what else would you want? Like, I love intimate conversations. I love one-on-one conversations. And with very smart people and very beautiful people, and yeah, it's amazing. I love it. And if I would have a magic wand and people say, what would you want right now, Luella? It'd be like, for my podcast to just like go crazy. That's what I want. So if you kind of like my content and you want to do me a huge favor, I don't ask for much, but if you could rate my podcast, it would mean so much to me. And this goes with the topic of what I'm going to do with my life more of instead. I'm still going to be a therapist, coach, call me whatever you want. There's big differences though. I think you know that. And choose the right person for you and choose them wisely. I actually posted on my Facebook page today about that. Not my personal page, the business page. If you want to read more about that. But I'm still going to be doing that. But I'm going to begin a business that, how would I explain this? I should have really thought about this more. I'm going to be a writer for internal companies' newsletters, like companies' internal newsletters. So for example, if you work for a company right now where the management doesn't really talk to the employees very well, or they're not communicating very well, or you're not really sure, like, what is the company's like voice, and what do our managers really want, and the managers aren't happy because the employees aren't doing okay. So then we have a newsletter, right? I mean, big companies have internal newsletters. Well, I want to start promoting myself as someone who can write these newsletters for the company, and therefore solve this disconnection that they have, as well, talking about subjects that I'm passionate about, and I get to write, which is what I'm passionate about. I'll spend lots of time in my office, and I think, well, I've tried to explain this to my family. It's like, I'm not grinding it. I love writing. I love, whether it's personal growth writing in terms of journaling, etc., or just writing posts. I love doing that kind of stuff. So I get to write, which I really love, because I'm a bit of a introvert, I guess you could say. I like my cave. But I also love one-on-ones. So I get to do that, and I get to talk about topics that I love, which if you listen to my podcast, you'll realize it has a lot to do with mindset. It has a lot to do with lifestyle, meaning, you are what you eat. Your nutrition is everything, that food is medicine, and people need to start understanding that you can actually bring down your blood pressure, you can actually control your cholesterol, you can actually reverse type 2 diabetes, you can sleep well. I mean, I could go on, and so much of this is diet related. So I would get to talk about that in the newsletter. And that's what I mean. Like, it would be a newsletter that, like, not only connects management with their employees, but also gives them very good information. Because I've studied functional medicine. This is what I do. Like, when, in my leisure time, is study topics about nutrition, about movement, about sleep quality, about mindset. I mean, this is why I get up in the morning. So, and then, I mean, like, mindset and self-growth and this whole, like, self-journey thing. This is what I do. I mean, everybody needs to do it in life, but I like to think that, having a PhD and doing this kind of work for over 25 years, I like to think I know what I'm talking about. I mean, but it's not from the books, it's from working with people. I know the topics that keep people up at night. I know how the mind can go on these thought loops and how rumination is so easy to do. And I also know that life is full of suffering. I know, for example, in my own family, last week, my mom, who's 84, very independent woman, kind of scary. Like, I can see myself and my mom being very, very similar. So they're going to have a hard time removing me from the home when it comes, or leaving my home when that time comes. But she fell and she broke her hip. Very common, right? And there's this, this thought out there too, is sort of like, did her hip break and then she fell? But no, I think it's just more of a balance thing, as we get older. And believe me, those are the exercises that I'm doing right now, is a lot of balancing, a lot of structural integrity sort of thing. The mind speaking to the muscles speaking to the mind. So as something similar doesn't happen to me when I'm her age. But yeah, she fell and she's in the hospital right now. And, the mind as well, if you're somebody that loves moving and loves being active and loves being productive and loves being efficient and independent, and something like this happens, which could happen to me, anybody, like in an instant, their life can change in terms of mobility, in terms of so many things, losing a loved one. Your mind is everything. And that's why mindset is so important, and being able to, see different perspectives in life and understand how other people behave. And anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but it rocked my world. Like, it rocked my world when when that happened, last week to my mom, because I'm extremely close and I don't want her to suffer. I don't want her to be in a hospital bed. It really, really bothered me. But this is life. This is something that we all are going to have to do, is take care of aging parents. A child that's hurting emotionally. Like, this is life. And to think that we can do it alone is no. And I mean, I want, people to be able to access healthcare, like emotional welfare, easily, and to do it, in a way that's affordable. And this is the beautiful thing about social media, that, this could be something that people can access very good content through social media, like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, podcasts. It's amazing. I'm a huge podcast listener, and I'm just like, why do people even need to go to school? This is fantastic information. But what I don't like about social media, and why I feel like I don't want to be on it as much, is I love being intentional. I love to be able to open up my phone on Instagram, do a post, do a live, face to cam, a story or whatever, and get off. But this is extremely difficult because we are geared to look at the shiny objects, and so some things that I follow, it's sort of, I love a plant-based type of lifestyle. So I follow certain influencers in that aspect, and other things too. But so I go on to make a post, and all of a sudden there's this real cool cooking video, and I'm like, oh, and then you see other people that you really like, other posts, and it's just we all know it. 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes later, we haven't even done what we meant to do. And of course, as a therapist too, I see what this does to the youth. I see how it's so easy to start comparing yourself to everyone else. That's what they say, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. Totally. And all the content out there is not great, and so going back to the whole newsletter idea, I'm thinking, okay, management can connect with their employees, but they can also sort of gear their employees to accessing good information, good content, without feeling the need that they have to search for it elsewhere. Because I like to think that the content I produce is accurate, it's readable, worthy, and so if they need help with relationships or diet or movement, or hey, I'm not I'm a Jill of all trades, perhaps a master of none. So I'm not saying that, my content when I talk about nutrition is the best, but I'd like to think, again, if I've gathered enough information and qualified, in enough areas, that the content I do produce is fairly good content. But anyway, the whole thing, what I'm trying to say is that it was I was going down, I wasn't happy, and that's just not me. And so I'm telling you that when this happens to you, because it's just a matter of time, it's going to happen to you, that if you're not happy, you really have to think, okay, what are my values? What do I love? What's important to me? And if your behavior is not aligning to those things that are important to you, then this is the problem. So you might have people saying you need to do this, you need to whatever, but if it's not you, then for God's sakes, don't do it, because that's a great recipe for happiness, or lack of happiness, I should say. So, I mean, I get that we can't always change our life on a dime, but we can make changes in our behavior that gets us to be more aligned towards what our values are. So if it's related to the type of job you are right now, like let's say you're working for a company that, let's say you're working for BASF or what are some of these other huge chemical companies, Monsanto or whatever it is, and you're passionate about the environment. Like when you see a little bunny rabbit, like your day's complete, sort of thing. Or you're passionate about animals, but everybody else in your house eats meat, and it's sort of like, if your values aren't aligned with the behaviors that you're doing every day, it's obviously going to affect your mental health, your emotional well-being. If you sit in an office all day, but you're just like you're like drooling as you look outside the window every day, or you're not in an office with windows, you have to, you got to do something. You got to change. And like I said, it doesn't happen overnight, but this is something you're striving for, is to get away from anything that's not aligning to your morals, your values, what's super important for you in life. And when you start making those little behavioral changes, you'll see it's sort of like, oh my goodness, like I have a spark in my step, a skip in my step, I should say. Like I'm waking up now feeling so much more energized. Like that was something I was noticing too. I was exhausted. I was so exhausted. And as a therapist, I know this. It's sort of like you're exhausted because you're thinking so much. Like your brain, I think it uses up 20% of your metabolism, like the energy, your mitochondria. It's like 20% of your basal metabolic rate is taken up by your brain. And your brain weighs 6% of your total body weight. So it's amazing. Like when you think of the mitochondria, like that need energy in your brain to function. And if you're always thinking, like if you're always in your head kind of going, like with worry, stress, anxiety, or when you're just not aligned to your values, your brain is always trying to figure out, like, how do I change my life in order to be happier? And sometimes you come up like against a brick wall. Like it's sort of like, but I'm telling you, there are ways. And the more you explore that, the more you do that journey of self-inquiry, which is not always a fun journey. You go through a lot of valleys in order to kind of come back to the top. But like I said, I have done this in the last few weeks, and finally, it's just occurred to me, it's sort of like, I gotta stop selling on social media, because it's not me. It's extremely time consuming as well. But if there's something that comes to my mind, a simple post, no problem, I'll get that up there. That's great for me. Or I'll put a quick video on like this, not a problem. But it's this idea of needing to sell myself that was just, and how distraction plays a huge part when you open up your phone and stuff like that. I didn't don't like it at all. So me being able to write about passionate, like things that I'm passionate about, and do it for the masses, is so exciting to me. And I am going to put a lot of, like, that's where I wake up in the morning, like, this is what I'm doing. This I'm working on this today. Like, this is fantastic. And, in between there, I get to speak to my clients here and there. I get to interview wonderful people on my podcast and just learn about their lifestyle and what's important to them. And, it's just like, it's the best to me of anything I could really ask for. That's what they say, right? When your work is not actually work, that's when you become happy. And so, I mean, if you're passionate about just being a mom, wonderful. And this is something interesting too, I'm noticing about myself. Like, I don't know if you followed me for a while, like I've posted in the past about hating cooking. I don't hate cooking, actually, I realize. I don't, because, like, why am I drawn towards these cooking videos? You know why I'm drawn towards cooking videos? Is because it's a form of art. It's so creative, and I absolutely love these people that are passionate about their work, and you can see it. And it's like, it brings me so much joy. Like, I mean, even like, the way they cut things, like it's art. It's and what they know about different spices and and having it all come together and then nourishing your body and your mind. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is wonderful. And I think that's why I'm sort of going more towards like plant-based diet as well, plant forward, whatever you want to call it. Like, I have to say, it's not necessarily for ethical reasons. Like, I love animals incredibly. Like, I do. I have a real fondness towards cows, for example. Cows are beautiful. Like, I just, everything. But I think it's more of the whole idea of, a spice being a plant. And it just brings so much variety. Like, I grew up potatoes, meat, veggies, and I'm fortunate that it was all very local. We had a huge garden on the farm that I grew up on, and my mom still does that. And so I saw the beauty in that. But when you're preparing a slab of meat, like, I'm just sort of like, okay, there's not so much, like, there's not really an art to that, is there? Like, hey, I'm not saying I'm vegan and vegetarian. At the moment, I do enjoy, like, I love fish, local fish. Like, in our lakes, we have some beautiful lakes here where I live. Nothing tastes better than a fresh pickerel, to me. So I know I'm not like there 100%, like, in terms of ethical reasons. But the whole plant forward, like, it's so beautiful. Like, it's just like, the colors and stuff like that. It's beauty. It's, to me. And yeah, like, I'm thinking too, I want to draw more. I want to travel more. I don't know. I just, like, it just kind of, there's a lot of things that I think are very creative and artful, and I'm going to do more of that because I know that brings me a lot of joy. And I just wanted to really encourage you to do the same, because, like I said, it wasn't fun. I was exhausted. I was like, what is going on in my life? I'm just not, I don't have the same bounce in my step. Like, mentally I was exhausted. I started questioning, like, am I coming down with something? Like, do I go for blood work? Like, what's happening? but no, all of a sudden, like as soon as I knew that this is what I need to be doing more of, is just writing and not selling myself on social media and feeling like obligated to do that. Like it was just like, it was like a plant that was watered. Like I just like completely different. So as a therapist, as a coach, as a creator, I just want you to know that, you know, I guess what's hard for me is you don't know what you don't know. And, you know, someone who doesn't sleep or is having trouble sleeping, and someone just says, oh, you're stressing too much. You know, you got to get rid of your stress. Easy to say, like, but how? Because sometimes people don't even know what's stressing them out. You know, like, you don't know what you don't know. But I'm saying that, you know, continue searching, continue consulting in people, continue reaching out to people, continue talking to people. Like, whether it's, if you can't afford therapy or a coach or whatever, talk to your friends, talk out loud, journal, write, walk in nature. I mean, the answer will come. Like, it will. And it's going to be worth it. It's 100% going to be worth it. And we, like I say, don't quit your job, like, after listening to this, you know, live or whatever. Like, don't do anything, like, you know, whatever, unrational, but think, you know, how can I start doing things that bring me more joy? You know, so first of all, what are my values? What do I believe in? What are non-negotiables for me in my life? Am I doing those things right now? Yes or no? And if I'm not, how can I make small changes that go towards that? What's one more little thing I can do today that's going to bring me more towards that? And go in that direction, you know? That's the best advice I can give you right now. I also, I mean, next time I talk like this, I think I need to talk more about relationships too, because I haven't spoken about that very much lately. And that's a huge insight to your happiness as well, right? So yeah, let's leave it at that. And so I will continue posting when I feel the need to post, or when I truly want to do a live, do a reel, do a story, or maybe it's just writing posts. I will, but I've abandoned this idea that I need to go on social media in order to be successful. I don't feel that needed at all. So thank you for listening, everyone, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye-bye.